The scream ripped from my throat before I even hit the ground, echoing across the empty campus quad like a gunshot in the night. "Kyson, get the hell off him." Gabriel's voice cut through the haze of pain and humiliation, his silhouette charging from the shadows like some avenging ghost. In that split second, as his fist connected with the attacker's jaw, I realized my stepbrother had just become the hero I never knew I needed, and the complication I couldn't afford. It was freshman orientation week at the University of Washington in Seattle, that drizzly September haze that makes everything feel like it's holding its breath. I'd begged my parents to let me drive up alone from Portland, craving that taste of independence after years of tiptoeing around our blended family mess. Mom had married Gabriel's dad when we were kids, me at 12, him at 14, and we'd spent the last 6 years pretending we were just bros, sharing awkward high school bathrooms and forced family dinners. But here, under the towering evergreens and the relentless Pacific Northwest rain, I was finally free, or so I thought. I'd always known I was gay. It hit me in 8th grade, watching the way the light caught Jake Ramirez's smile in homeroom, my stomach twisting like I'd swallowed a live wire. Back home, I buried it deep. Small-town Oregon wasn't kind to kids like me. But college? This was supposed to be my reinvention. I joined the LGBTQ+ Alliance on day one, chatted up cute baristas at the campus coffee shop, even flirted with a guy named Theo at the welcome mixer. Felt electric, dangerous, alive. Until the quad incident. It started innocently enough. A pickup soccer game after dark, a bunch of jocks from the frat row inviting newbies to join. I was no athlete, but hell, I wanted to fit in. Theo was there, cheering from the sidelines, his laugh pulling me in like gravity. One goal led to another, and suddenly I was the center of a huddle, sweat-soaked and grinning. Then one of the guys, Brock with his buzz cut and perpetual sneer, brushed too close, his hand lingering on my shoulder a beat too long. "Easy there, pretty boy," he'd muttered, and the circle erupted in laughs that turned sharp, edged with something uglier. By the time they cornered me behind the library steps, Theo had vanished into the crowd. Brock's fist was the first to fly, fueled by beer and whatever toxic sludge passed for brotherhood in their world. "Think you can prance around here like that?" he spat, and the others piled on. Kicks to my ribs, words like knives. "Queer, freak, go back to Cali." I curled up, tasting dirt and defeat, wondering if this was what freedom cost. That's when Gabriel showed up. He'd driven up that afternoon, unannounced, claiming Dad insisted he check on me. Truth was, he was starting his junior year transfer from community college, but he'd kept it quiet like he always did, slipping into my life without fanfare, fixing what I broke without asking for thanks. He was built like a linebacker from years on the wrestling team, all broad shoulders and quiet intensity, with hazel eyes that saw too much. That night, he waded into the fray like it was nothing, scattering them with a single, precise swing. Brock went down hard, and the rest bolted, yelling threats over their shoulders. Gabriel hauled me up, his arm around my waist steady as rebar. "You good?" he asked, voice low and rough, like gravel under tires. I nodded, even though every breath burned, blood trickling from my split lip. We stumbled to his beat-up Ford pickup parked by the dorms, the rain picking up as he handed me a flannel shirt from the back seat to staunch the flow. "What the hell were you thinking, Kyson? Playing hero with those assholes?" "I wasn't," I started, but choked on a sob. The dam broke then, hot tears mixing with the downpour on my face. He didn't say a word, just pulled over at a viewpoint overlooking Lake Washington, the city lights smearing like oil on water. We sat there for an hour, engine idling, his hand on the gearshift inches from mine. "You're not alone in this, you know?" he finally said, staring straight ahead. "Not anymore." That was the hook that sank deepest. Not the rescue, but the way his voice cracked on the last word, like he'd been carrying his own secrets for miles. The next few days blurred into a rhythm of forced normalcy. Gabriel crashed on my dorm floor, a sleeping bag unrolled amid textbooks and empty ramen cups, insisting it was temporary until I healed up. But temporary stretched into a week, then two, as bruises faded and something else bloomed in their place. We'd grab breakfast burritos from the food trucks on the Ave, wander the arboretum where the leaves turned fire red against the gray skies, talking about everything and nothing. He opened up about his own transfer, How community college had been a grind after our parents' divorce drama. How he'd wrestled with his identity in the shadows of small-town expectations. "You're brave, man," he told me one afternoon, skipping stones across Green Lake as joggers looped by, coming out here owning it. I admire that. His smile was crooked, boyish, the kind that made my chest ache. I wanted to tell him it wasn't bravery, just survival, that every glance his way twisted me up inside, because he was family off-limits in ways that went beyond blood. But I swallowed it down like always. Theo reappeared midweek, all apologies and wide-eyed concern, showing up at my door with a six-pack of craft IPA and a story about how he'd tried to intervene but got held back. Gabriel tensed when he saw him, jaw clenching like he'd bitten into glass. "Who's this?" he asked later, after Theo had left with a lingering hug that felt more performative than genuine. "Just a guy." I shrugged, but Gabriel's eyes narrowed. "Something's off about him. Kentucky, watch your back." I laughed it off, Gabriel, the overprotective big brother routine, but doubt wormed in. Theo was all charm. Late-night walks under the Fremont Bridge where he'd whisper sweet nothings about us against the world. But his touches were fleeting, his stories inconsistent, and when he dodged questions about his own family, I started pulling away. One night, after a party at the frat house. Ironic, right? He cornered me in the backyard, breath sour with whiskey. "Come on, Kyson, don't be like that. We're good together." His hand clamped my wrist, gripped too tight, and for a flash, I saw Brock's sneer in his eyes. I shoved him off, heart hammering, and bolted, straight to Gabriel's truck, where he was waiting like he always did, engine running. "Drive?" I gasped, and he didn't ask questions. Just peeled out, tires hissing on wet pavement. We ended up on that rooftop, the one atop the drama building with its panoramic view of the Sound. It was our spot now, a stolen sanctuary amid the chaos. Rain lashed the city that night, thunder rumbling like distant artillery. I paced the edge, soaked to the bone, words tumbling out in a torrent. Theo's pressure, the fear that I'd misread every signal, the terror of being wanted but not truly seen. Gabriel leaned against the access door, arms crossed, water streaming down his face like tears he wouldn't shed. And then it shattered. "I'm not letting anyone hurt you again," he said, stepping closer, voice barely audible over the storm. "Because, God, Kyson, it's killing me watching you with him. With anyone." I froze, the world tilting. "What?" He closed the distance, hands framing my face, thumbs brushing my cheeks with a gentleness that undid me. "I felt this for years. Since that stupid family camping trip in the Cascades, when you laughed at my dumb jokes around the fire. You're not just my stepbrother. You're the one who makes sense in my messed up head." But I buried it, because what the hell would we even call this? The confession hung there, electric as lightning, cracking open every guarded corner of my soul. I kissed him then. Not tentative, not testing, but fierce and desperate. Like if I didn't claim this moment, it'd slip away forever. He kissed back, arms wrapping around me like an anchor in the gale, the rain washing away years of what-ifs. For the first time, I wasn't hiding. We were two guys, tangled in a love that defied labels, finding home in each other's breath. But nothing in Seattle stays secret long. Word leaked. Maybe from Theo, nursing his bruised ego, or one of the jocks spotting us leaving the rooftop hand in hand. By Monday, whispers snaked through the halls. "Did you hear? Kyson's banging his own brother." Texts blew up my phone. Hate from strangers, concern from the Alliance group, silence from home. Mom called, voice trembling. "Is it true? Sweetheart, we need to talk." Gabriel took the brunt, his transfer advisor pulling him aside for a discreet chat about family complications. He brushed it off with that stoic grin, but I saw the cracks. The way his shoulders slumped when he thought I wasn't looking, the late nights staring at the ceiling from his sleeping bag. The betrayal came from the least expected place. Theo. Turns out, he'd been feeding info to Brock's crew, playing both sides for leverage in some twisted bid for frat cred. He cornered us outside the student union, smirking like he'd won the lottery. "Thought you'd keep it in the family, huh? Pathetic." Gabriel lunged, but I held him back, the fight draining out of me. "We're done here," I said, voice steady for the first time. "All of you." Campus security got involved, Statements, suspensions, the whole bureaucratic circus. Theo got expelled. Brock's crew scattered like roaches. But the real fallout was internal. A storm fiercer than any weather. Gabriel and I holed up in my dorm, doors locked, world narrowed to take out pizza and playlists of indie folk that spoke our unspoken fears. What if this breaks us? I whispered one night, his head on my chest, heartbeat sinking like a metronome. It already did, he murmured, fingers tracing lazy circles on my arm. And we're still here. That's the point. We drove home that weekend, the Ford's wipers batting back the drizzle. Puyallup Valley unfolding like a green promise. Parents waited. Awkward hugs, tears, a family therapist's card pressed into my hand. Mom pulled me aside. Love isn't a straight line, baby. It's whatever gets you through the rain. Dad clapped Gabriel's shoulder, eyes misty. Your family, always were. It wasn't perfect. Whispers followed us back to campus. And some days, the weight of Stepbrother felt like chains we couldn't quite shake. But we built anyway. Study dates in the library turning into quiet confessions. Weekend hikes up Rattlesnake Ledge where the view stole our breath and reminded us how vast the world could be. Gabriel joined the alliance. I started a blog on blended families and queer love, anonymous at first, then bold. A year later, under that same rooftop during orientation week, we stood with a dozen wide-eyed freshmen, sharing our story, not as tragedy, but testament. It started with a punch, I said, Gabriel's hand warm in mine, and ended with us choosing each other. Every damn day. Unbelievable? Maybe. But in the end, it was just life. Messy, relentless, and achingly human. The kind that doesn't promise easy, but delivers something real. Two souls, stitched together by storms, emerging stronger in the light.